Welcome back to another episode of The Ali Show, a weekly podcast from Bectran where you can expect to hear about real problems every credit manager and AR professional faces daily in the B2B space, and where you can also expect to learn about implementable solutions from peers in your industry. My name is Kidwai and I'm Senior Manager for Product and Implementation. I work closely with our partners as well as our customers to implement order catch solutions for their problems. I have with me here today Mr. Nischal Shetty. He's the product and implementation lead for a lot of our enterprise customers, but he's going to talk a little about his early days dealing with small to medium businesses and what challenges they faced in the order to cash industry. So, a little trip down memory lane, if you would. But yeah, thanks, Nischal. Thanks, Nischal, for joining us. How are you doing? Why don't you introduce yourself, what you do today, and what you're going to be talking about?
Yeah, nice to be here as well. Like you said, my name is Nischal Shetty. I am the product and implementation lead. I've been here at Bectran for 3 years. Initially, it was great working with the small to medium businesses, see what they were going through on a day-to-day basis, see what solutions we could cater to them. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Thank you. So yeah, let's jump right in. So when we talk about SMBs or small to medium businesses, one of the biggest challenges we see are manual processes. I mean, I know that the volume that these businesses may have on the transaction side may not be very much, but still, because of resource constraints as well as lack of standardization, this may lead to a lot of different problems. And the root of it is obviously manual processes. So, if you could just at a very high level break it down for us and tell us, what it looks like in a typical SMB credit and AR department, what challenges they face, and what exactly what problems do these challenges cause for the department as well as the end customer.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the main problems that is there, generally speaking, is the manual processes that is there, lack of automation. That boils down to just sending out paper applications to customers, which does slow down the customer outreach rather than reaching to 50 customers. You have to send that to them manually by email or you have to fax that to them, which does slow things down a lot. You also have lengthy processes for references, so it may take some customers about 10 to 15 days to hear back from references. Now, how you reach out to them, whether it's by email or by phone or sometimes even by fax, getting the necessary information from customers that is not all, or from references that is not always the most ideal way to go about it, but that's how the small to medium businesses track references today, and that is a vital part of the overall evaluation and overall scoring. So they do need to wait for some of these references to get back to them. Document gathering, storing everything in a single repository. This again can be quite an hassle, especially when you receive these physical documents, not knowing where to store those, not knowing when to scan those, not knowing which of these documents will be important in the future when you run an account review, for example. So some things like these, it really does hinder the overall evaluation process for the small to medium businesses. Also, you have the reporting aspect where you don't know what data attributes to receive from customers. So let's say you do receive a paper application, you don't know what data points you want to extract from that, and then you don't know what to report on. So rather than having a system that automatically does that for you, automatically segregates what important data points look like, you have to manually go through every application, look at all the documents and see, okay, this is what I want to report on, this is what I actually want to store, which can be really cumbersome, and it is really time consuming for a lot of these small to medium businesses. Those are some of the main points that I would say that does hinder some of the small to medium businesses from actually quickening up their evaluation processes, and then changing to the phase where they can reduce from, let's say, 15 to 20 days to just 2 to 3 days or 5 to 6 days for evaluating and approving customers.
Okay. What about on the AR side? What do you see on the AR side specifically? Collections
Yeah.
or payments? Could you talk about what problems you see even with low number of customers? They may have a low number of invoices. What problems do you see with that? I know payments is a big problem, but collections as well.
Yeah. Collections and payments, two very big topics for the small to medium businesses. Collections, you don't know how and when to track who's paying, which can be for example, a lot of our customers before they implemented Bectran, they were just using simple Excel sheets to track collections, which is very interesting. But again, it is a manual process. You have a collector who manually updates the fact that, okay, this customer is paid, this customer has dues. It gets a little more complicated when it's partial payments, right? If it's full payments, okay, you can check it out, say, okay, this is done. But if it's a partial payment, someone doesn't pay a full invoice, you have to still keep that invoices open and then basically manually track how much is needed to be paid. And similarly for payments, if you have 3 or 4 methods, if you have customers manually calling you or sending you cash for a payment that needs to be made, if you managing this in a manual format can get very cumbersome. If you have a payment portal, if you have 2, 3 different payment portals, aggregating all these payments into one database can become quite painful, which is what a lot of our small to medium businesses have gone through.
Yeah, that's great. Those are extremely valid points. I guess at the highest level, not even related to technology, but at the highest level, how do you think those can be resolved, and what do you think SMBs should sort of embrace and implement at a very high level to address these challenges?
One of the biggest factors we would say is moving away from paper. That was a huge upgrade for a lot of our small to medium businesses. Just keeping everything online rather than sending out paper applications by fax or by email. You just send out an online application to make life so much easier. And also, you don't lose track of where an application is, whether it is submitted, whether it went to a customer, or even if it's approved or not. So moving away from paper, one, a lot more outreach. So we've seen a lot of customers double or triple their outreach by moving from paper to online applications. And then secondly, it's also tracking of where the application is in the process, whether it's submitted, whether it's with the customer or whether it's with the small to medium businesses. The other thing is you also have control of who's reviewing what. You have more control of what applications need to go to whom, who's approving applications. You can also see the metrics on an internal basis, how long a credit manager is taking to approve an application. You can use this for your performance review as well, see how one department is doing versus another department. So you can track metrics like that. So those are some basic factors that you have when you move away from manual processes to automated processes, or just from moving away from paper to online applications. You can also look into other things like scoring. A lot of the small businesses, medium businesses, they just use simple factors like, okay, we've got the bureau report says this is good, this is not good. It's either good or bad. So you can include a lot more factors, AR attributes, bureau factors, references, business profile. A lot of this can be combined and to be generated into one big score that includes a more holistic view in terms of what you look at when you are approving or declining a customer. So these are some of the high-level things that we've seen on the credit side when when we see small to medium businesses move from paper to online or manual to automated processes. On the AR side, you have collections, right? So instead of tracking, okay, this customer needs to be sent an email today, whereas customer B needs to be sent an email tomorrow, you can just have that process entirely automated where we set up some metrics, we set up some thresholds, and the email process is entirely automated, right? So rather than having the collectors go in and keep track of who received emails and who made the payments, you have these automated collection emails that can go out. Customers receive those, and then it's a lot easier to track who makes payments.
Even text,
even text.
I know that for a lot of smaller customers, that's probably easier.
Yep, absolutely. And this ties back like how we receive our monthly bills for electricity, for example, right? We get texts about those, we can get emails about those. So similarly, you can have that in the larger scale with credit automations or AR automation, have these emails sent out, have text sent out, voice notes if needed. So yeah, that's that on the collection side. On the payment portal side as well, send all your customers the same email. All of them receive that payment portal link. They click on it, as simple as that. Go and make a payment. Doesn't really take more than 5 to 10 minutes. You can also do things like auto pay, especially when you don't have a large volume of payments that come in. It's easy to track customers that make payments using the payment portal. Everyone uses the same portal link, same customer experience. So yeah, that's what small to medium businesses can achieve with this level of automation, moving away from the manual processes.
Those are great points, valid points, and that sort of leads us into the next part, which is a lot of it is change management as well as training your people. So a lot of the hesitation we see in implementing these tools and processes is, people don't want to change. So what's holding them back, and what do you see as the biggest hesitations that these businesses may have to implement these tools and processes?
Yeah. In one of the recent conferences that we went to, we spoke to some of the small to medium businesses there just to get a gauge of why they're change resistant. Basically, one of the major factors that a lot of these companies spoke about was the fact that they're very used to their current process. So the credit managers, they do the same tasks every day, 9 to 5. They don't want to change what they currently do because it works for them. But you're not thinking about efficiency. You're just trying to think about, can I get this done? So that's one of the main reasons why they don't want to move away from their current process into an online process or an automated process. The other thing is the scale of implementation. So they're afraid of, one, the time itself. So how long it takes to implement such a solution. So if it's a year-long thing, for example, well then that would probably ends up making things more inefficient for them because they do have to still approve applications and implement this. So that's one of the reasons why they would stay away from implementing such an automated solution, because they think that it would take a year-long thing, and also the extent to which they need to implement this. They don't just need to implement this in one department or two departments, right? This would be the entire credit department and potentially the AR department as well. So the scale of implementation, the time of implementation, this is something that they fear takes a long time and is very extensive, which is why they're a little hesitant to move to such a solution, generally speaking. And this is what we've seen from customer feedback until they implemented Bectran.
Great. I guess we have a little bit of experience in this arena. So, we solve for this often. So, could you just sort of break down how we help these businesses, one, from a technology perspective, as well as two, from a change management perspective, and, how we can alleviate some of the fears you talked about?
Yeah. A lot of the credit solution, there are multiple aspects to it. One of the biggest use cases of Bectran is the online credit application, right? So being able to send out online applications to customers, having them complete, basically digitalizing this entire process. And then the other aspect, which we touched upon a little earlier, was data storage and centralization of document collection, scoring, and things like that. So when a customer submits an application, what happens is it comes back to Bectran, everything is centralized, you have all your documents there, you have all your references there. There's really no need to go outside the platform. You get your bureaus that we've integrated with, factor those into scoring, and then approve an application. Notifications, routing, everything can be done within the platform. So who needs to see an application? It goes straight to them. They get notified of it. They come in, run through the evaluation process, and then approve it. This really does significantly change your approval. Well, it does change the timing in terms of the approval. Move away from 10-day approvals, move away from waiting on references, move away from pulling 3 different bureau reports from 3 different websites into doing this all in one central platform. So that is one of the biggest solutions offerings we have on the credit side. There is extensive reporting as well. You can pull in the primary factors we have in reporting is when an application is submitted, there's a lot of data that is sent to us by the customer, right? So a lot of that needs to be analyzed, a lot of that needs to be put into graphs and all. So for that, you need some amount of reporting that extracts data from these applications, that extracts data from the approval process. So that is done automatically in the Bectran system itself. All you do is click a button, say generate report for this time period, and that's available in your queue. As simple as that. And then you have a lot of other factors, especially on the fraud side. A lot of small to medium businesses, this is something that we've seen recently, have reported fraudulent aspects. Fraudulent customers say that, or fraudulent customers just apply with them because now it's easier to send out applications to them, right? So what do we do to prevent that? We have integrated with a lot of third-party services for example, to ACH verification, to see whether the customer itself is a real customer, how far they're located from the business, track such things as IP address, So we have integrated with various services to basically help with the fraud prevention aspect. So so none of our customers or none of the small to medium businesses have to deal with this in addition to the approving process, streamline things. So diving into the AR side, we have a lot of customers currently that use the platform, the small to medium businesses, uploading invoices just through CSV uploads rather than building a full end-to-end integration. This also does quicken the process because you don't have to wait until the systems are integrated and data is communicated between the two systems. The CSV uploads are quick. The training is quick for that as well. So once you do have your invoices uploaded, that does drive a lot of the modules that you'd be working with. So payments, whether it's collections, whether it's claims and disputes, all of this can be done just by uploading invoices. For example, on the collection side, once you do upload the invoices, you also do include things like the due date, the invoice date. So you do know which invoices are past due. All you need to do at that point is set up the model. Very simple to do. Talk to our team. We discuss what needs to be, what you currently work with, and then how you want it to change going forward. Once the model is set up, the system automatically picks up these invoices, these customers that need to be notified, and an automated email is sent out. And this can happen really on the cadence that you want to set up. So if it has to go on a weekly basis, if it has to go on a monthly basis, how often you want to send this out, it can be done so. On the payment side, especially if you don't have like hundreds of thousands of payments that need to be collected, you upload the invoices. Your customers will have access to those payment portals or the payment portal where they can see the invoices and then pay off the invoices there. And once they do pay off the invoices, just all you need to do is re-upload some of these invoices with the updated information. It's a really streamlined process, a very simple process. And then with the claims as well, once you have the invoice, you can file a claim against that invoice, whether you want it to directly impact that invoice or whether you want to take care of that, provide an account credit or any credit to that customer at a later point, that can be done. So you have different aspects to the claims as well. But again, with CSV uploads, you can do invoice uploads, you can make payments, you can upload your accounts, you can map the accounts to portfolios if you utilize the portfolio structure. It's really up to you, but CSV uploads is what a lot of our small to medium businesses use because it's a simple implementation.
Great. All right, and then I guess last question for us. Once all of these tools and strategies are implemented, what success factors have you seen from our customers or just heard about in the industry at a very high level? What have you seen?
So some of the main points that we have seen is reduction in application receiving time, reduction in approval time period. So from a numbers perspective, a lot of our small to medium businesses were seeing 10 to 15 days from the end to end, sending the customer the application, receiving the references, approving. 10 to 15, 13 to 15 days. Now when we look back on their metrics, whenever we do run some reporting on them, it looks like it's moved on from 13 to 15 to 5 to 7 days, which is a lot. And this does help even in just getting more customers, getting more business, free up some of your credit manager's time. Just generally speaking, those are some of the main benefits that you have on the credit side. And the implementation itself, when the small to medium businesses, they work with us, the credit and AR side doesn't really take more than a month each module.
Well, this has been great, Nischal. Thanks for coming on the podcast. We appreciate it. Thanks for giving us a little trip down memory lane. I remember the same challenges from back in the day when I was a kid. I guess I'm still a kid. But yeah, thanks so much for listening, everybody. To the viewers, obviously, we'll be back next Friday with a new episode. But until then, if you found this valuable, please subscribe to our show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and view any resources in the episode description. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.